Welcome to the World of Rare Disease, a show that focuses on awareness and education about rare and complex disorders. Today's show features Julie Gortze, who is the founder and president of Rare New England. Today we would like to provide you with a State of the Organization show, a look deeper into Rare New England, its programs, goals, accomplishments, and plans for the future. Our goal is for you to have a better understanding of Rare New England and empower you to become involved in our organization. The mission of Rare New England is to bring together New England patients, families, and providers touched by rare and complex disorders. We offer educational opportunities, create awareness of available resources, and build foundations for support to improve patient quality of life. I am Lisa Deck, today's host and committee member for Rare New England. Today we will dive into the various initiatives of Rare New England. We're going to begin with the Rare Disease Day Speaker Series. This is now in its second year. I'd like to have Julie talk to us a little bit about that. Can you tell us a little bit about the Rare Disease Speaker Series, its goals, its mission, and how is it going?
Yes, hi Lisa. Yeah, I'd love to be able to share about this. This has been a really exciting initiative. We started this last year actually with the beginnings from a geneticist who's on our board. He's a metabolic specialist named Dr. Mark Corson, and he has experience in teaching and education in the rare disease world about these diseases. And one thing that he's learned is in his work, if he's up there and he's trying to teach students, he can talk all he wants. And then he realizes they don't really understand everything that he's talking about, and their eyes rather glaze over. So he learned really early in his career that by bringing in patients or caregivers to talk about their experiences with rare diseases, the students and the other physicians who didn't know about rare diseases really got a lot more out of that. So with that said, that's what we began last year. And we went into medical facilities, 6 medical facilities last year, bringing in patient speaker. He also went in, he gives an overview of the disease, and then the patient speaker talks about the experiences. It was very rewarding, especially at the end when it opens up for questions, and you see all these physicians and nurses and medical students, genetic counselors, becoming involved, asking questions, and trying to find out more about the diseases. So we know that when they left there, they may never remember the particular disease that we brought in because some of these diseases are so rare, but they're going to remember the patient experiences and the difficulties that they went through, so that maybe if they find a rare disease patient in front of them, maybe they don't know it's a rare disease patient, but they're at least going to attempt to look into it. So this year, we're doing the same thing. Rare Disease Day is February 28th. It's an annual, February 28th. And we are going to 10 different facilities this year, genetic counseling schools and medical facilities, and a medical school as well this year.
So I have yet to attend one of these. I'm really excited to check it out. I find that bringing this education to the students and to younger people, it really raises the awareness of rare diseases so that as they grow in their career, they might look for it, because that's definitely one piece of rare disease that sometimes it's just not recognized. I am honored this year on behalf of Rare New England to be speaking at a Rare Disease Day event at Mass Bio. As you mentioned, February 28th is Rare Disease Day, and that is something that is acknowledged annually. It's a way to bring attention to the rare disease patients and get people talking about that. And as part of the Rare Disease Day for Mass Bio, it will be an event that will be held in Boston, and there will be about 600 attendees. And I am on a panel that will be with other patients. There'll be 4 of us, and we will be discussing rare disease beyond diagnosis and treatment. Kind of how does rare disease impact our lives on a whole? And I'm thrilled to be able to be a part of that and be able to talk to these 600 people and let them know what it means to be a rare disease patient. And in attendance that day, there'll be pharma and different technology companies and really just different people who want to hear from patients. So it's great that Rare New England is enabling me to go and share that experience with everybody.
Yeah. Can I ask you, is that a public event? Can anyone go to that?
I believe it is a public event. I believe you can go and register. It's on the Mass Bio website, so anybody can attend. I know in the past it's been at the State House, and a lot of legislators would come. This year, I think it is at the Omni Parker House, so it will be more everyday people and people in the industry, other patients, hospitals, medical physicians. There'll be a lot of people there, but it's just really a neat way to raise awareness of rare diseases and be able to talk about the issues that truly impact everyday people. So I'm excited about that. Another event that I was able to attend this year that happened in November was Rare New England's conference. It was entitled Improving Healthcare Experiences in the Rare Disease Community. And it was held, I believe it was the beginning of November in Massachusetts. And I just wanted you to talk a little bit about what happened on that day, because it's the first one I attended and I loved it, but I would love to hear what was behind Rare New England hosting this event and plans for the future, things like that.
Okay. Yes, that's actually how we started out with Rare New England, is by organizing conferences with focus for patients and families for the main part. Of course, we do get physicians, physical therapists, nurses, and others who come, but the whole focus is to bring in information for patients and families to be able to learn more about their diseases, learn what's available to them through resources such as Make-A-Wish or Icing Smiles and other like gift granting organizations. So we did start that 3 years ago. So this conference that we had this past November was actually our third conference. So these are our annual conferences. So I know with the last one, we did bring in a legislator who is sponsoring one of our bills in the House of Massachusetts to form a Rare Disease Advisory Council. And of course, we were happy to have you speaking when you spoke about the legislative tips 101. We also brought in things like genetic testing information and about the ketogenic diet, and Epilepsy Foundation of New England came in and shared about their resources. That's pretty much the idea. And now we are actually building for our conference in Portland, Maine for this year, because this is the idea. We're in New England. We try to go to a different state every year. So this year it will be Maine. 2 years ago it was Vermont. So hopefully in time, soon, we'll be getting the word out for that, with the save the dates and the specific information. And we'll be building the same idea of bringing in this, the genetic testing or, similar to our other conferences.
I know another piece that I thought was very helpful was that there was a teen event as well.
Yes.
If you wanted to talk a little bit about that, and how I know there was a couple families in attendance, so I'd love to hear a little bit more about how that happened at the conference.
Yeah, well, the teen event too, that's something, because when we first got involved in Rare New England or in advocacy, we did have teens who would approach us as well and say, well, what is there for us? What can we do? And we all know that teenagers in general have their own specific needs. In the rare disease community, it goes beyond that. I mean, some of these kids who are not even able to attend schools, or if they do attend schools, it's tough sometimes if you're in a wheelchair or you have other medical problems, to be able to figure out how to get along with the other kids and how to keep up with the other kids. And they also are struggling with things like that transition from teenage to adulthood, and what do they do with their disabilities? How do they move on to college? What are their plans for the future? How do they support themselves? So these are pretty unique to these types. So a couple of years ago, we did start bringing in with the idea for the teens. We had a separate event 2 years ago for teens, like a game night, just to bring them together. So this year, we decided to bring the teen event along with the conference. And we did that. We had an organization called Next Step, who they work specifically with teens who have complex and rare diseases and such, and they do an amazing job with these kids. So we're very fortunate to be able to bring them and partner with us for the teen portion of the event, for the teens to come and get to know each other.
Rare New England is also involved locally with various legislation that impacts rare disease stakeholders in our community. I am pleased to be part of the team helping to introduce the Rare Disease Council to Massachusetts. Would you like to talk a little bit about the legislation and its goal?
Sure. So we started this bill called an act to create a Rare Disease Advisory Council in Massachusetts about 4 years ago. As anyone who may be out there knows about legislation, it takes quite some time to get bills passed. It's like an average of like 8 to 12 years, really, to get a bill passed. So it's not unusual that this bill hasn't been passed. We did resubmit it as the session opened in January, and we're going to hope for the best. Now, we did have a sponsor out of Attleboro who was a representative at the time who did sponsor the bill for 4 years. And he did try to push it through, but now he is actually the mayor, so he's not able to take that on anymore. So we did find a couple of representatives who have backgrounds in their family with rare diseases, and they are very eager to get this bill pushed through. So Representative Hannah Kane and Representative Joe McKenna, if anyone has any questions about them, we do have a page on our website that shares about this bill, which right now it's called House Docket 1104, and we have videos of Representatives Kane and McKenna. So if anyone wants to hear their backgrounds and their stories and see what they look like, that sort of thing. But the idea behind this bill is to bring stakeholders in the rare disease community together. And to expand on that a little bit, I know there's so many good people out there. There's so many people out there who really understand what's going on in the rare disease community, and they want to help these people in the rare disease community. And we have physicians who are working in one corner. We have schools where these kids go into school and they need to deal with their disabilities along with school. So we have the nurses and the teachers in these schools in another corner. We have insurance companies in another corner. There's just all of these people out there, but they're so busy in what they're doing. They're not always coming together to try to solve problems. So the idea behind this bill is to take stakeholders, patients, families, physicians, legislators, I mean, you name it. We have a diverse group, and bring them together to the same table through legislation and try to talk about what's going on in the rare disease world and see if we can come up with some solutions.
Sounds like it's really an attempt at collaboration, really getting everybody on the same page. I know that we are also eager for constituents, everyday people, to reach out to their legislators to ask for co-sponsorship of this.
Yes.
So that is something that Rare New England can help you with. If you would be willing to reach out to your legislator, you can go to our website, and that we can help you make that connection, because really, to get a bill passed, we need to have sponsorship, and we need to, well, we have the sponsorship, we need co-sponsors, and we need to get people behind this to make it move. So that is something that we are actively working on, and welcome any participation from people who might want to help.
Yes, and it's very important. It's very important to have their help, because that's one of the main problems behind this bill, that it hasn't been passed, it hasn't gone further through committees yet, is because the House just doesn't understand what's going on in the rare disease community. They don't know the difference between the rare disease patient and the chronic disease patient, and they need to find this out. There's a lot of awareness, and I know a lot of people don't understand the connection between healthcare and legislation. And I will admit that as working as a nurse in a hospital years ago, I didn't understand that, but now that I'm in the rare disease world, I understand we do need that push. We do need the support from the representatives and the senators and to make things work. So it's important, it's extremely important that everyone's representatives and senators know what's going on with the rare disease, that the constituents need to know who their representatives and senators are. They need to form relationships with them so that when they hear of each other, or they want to reach out through email, they know who each other is, and so that they understand what's going on in the rare disease world. That way, the representatives and senators, they are all on committees. You never know what committee they're going to be on within the House. So, you know, say if they're on the public health committee, you want to know that. You want to be able to, because chances are a bill such as the Rare Disease Advisory Council bill is going to go through the public health committee. So, and they get thousands of bills, thousands of bills. So you want them to see this bill for the Rare Disease Advisory Council and say, oh yes, I understand what's going on. Definitely, we need to push this through. And if they don't know that, then that bill could be put to the side. So it's very important for people to share.
I laugh because I call myself an accidental advocate. I remember when I was sick years ago, probably 15, 18 years ago, somebody said to me, would you share your story with the legislator? And I did not know what that meant. And I laugh because now I'm very involved in advocacy, and I like to explain it as a way for you to use your small voice to make a big difference. Because as a constituent, your voice will be heard. And so it's a way to really kind of take your story and make a difference just by using your voice. So I like to encourage people to use that.
Yes.
I fell into it accidentally, but I do enjoy being an advocate now.
Yeah.
So another initiative that Rare New England, there's a ton of them. You have a lot of initiatives going, but is the Healthcare Genetics Career Fairs that are currently being scheduled. Please tell us about that.
Okay, now this is a new one for us. The background behind this is there are not enough geneticists out there, and I'm sure the majority of the public doesn't understand that. They don't, if they're not understanding about the rare disease world, they may not understand that there are not enough doctors to cover these diseases. Some of these patients are sick, and they may not even have a physician, a geneticist who's covering their disease. Some of them, there might be one geneticist. It might be clear across the country or even clear across the world. Some of the geneticists who are here, like say in Boston, we do have a group of geneticists in Boston, like in Children's Hospital, Mass General. But the problem is there's still not enough of them. So everyone is coming, even from other countries, to go to Mass General to see these geneticists. These geneticists are so busy. There's the wait time to get in. You're talking 8 to 12 months to get your first appointment. And in the meantime, these patients are sick and they don't know what to do. So we're trying to address this need for more geneticists. The idea behind that now is to get a hold medical students, bring medical students in. In the future, this will also grow for nursing students, respiratory therapists, and other people working in healthcare. But for right now, we're trying to concentrate on medical students, give them the idea about geneticists. As kids are growing up, they're learning about heart doctors, they're learning about stomach doctors, they learn about neurology and surgeon, they all know to be a surgeon. They don't necessarily know about being a geneticist and what a geneticist does and what kind of a difference that they can make. So we are setting up programs. We have a few programs that will be this year. 2 of them will be in Boston. One will have it Mass General, and one will have it Boston Medical Center. And we'll bring in geneticists who have been working in the field for quite some time. Categories such as biochemical geneticist, research geneticist, maybe industry geneticist, and maybe a few others, just to talk briefly, maybe 15 minutes apiece, about what they're doing, what they have been doing, what has been rewarding as being a geneticist, to hopefully open the eyes of medical students, and hopefully they will go on to be a geneticist, but if nothing else, at least they're going to have a background, they're going to have a clue. Even if they become a surgeon, they're going to learn a little bit more about genetics and how that's affecting patients and families. So we're kind of excited. This is new.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be a learning process as we go, but nobody else is doing this. So, we're excited to be giving it a try, and
Right.
hopefully we can get more geneticists, because we need to think too, in the way the world is now, technology, they're learning more and more and more about genetic diseases. More and more genetic things are being discovered, and if there's not enough geneticists to cover patients and families, which there already isn't, it's just
Right.
going to get worse.
So it's really a way to look at the root cause and try to get an answer to that. So as rare disease has so many genetic mutations and genetic issues, this is a way to get people on board early to learn about it. So it's really a great initiative to enable people to, one, gain the education and perhaps spark the interest in being a geneticist. So it's a noble cause. Another thing I did want to talk about is what we are doing right now. We are doing the initiative of the World of Rare Disease, and we are so thankful to Mansfield Cable for letting us come here and share some information. I didn't know if you wanted to talk just a brief bit about how we're doing this. We've been at it for a few months now, and we have great plans for the future, things to look forward to. So we want to bring education. We want to bring information to the viewers and let them learn about things that Rare New England is doing. So do you want to touch upon that briefly?
Okay. I mean, I will say the guests who have been on the show so far, they've all been so thankful. They've all loved this whole experience. The people who have watched it, they have been, they've been thankful for the information, to get the information out there. We're hoping that through this show, we're able to bring more education, following our mission, with the education and the highlighting resources, we're hoping to be able to bring all of this to the greater community.
Right.
People who, maybe can't come to a conference, some people can, especially when you're talking about ill people, people with diseases, they can't always travel. So, this is a great opportunity, and we have been lucky so far with the, people who have jumped to be guests. We've had the psychiatrist who has come on board, and Team Impact who was here last month. It's been wonderful, and we are setting up to work on this for the next year. With let me see, we have a patient with Huntington's disease who's going to be coming and sharing about living with Huntington's disease. He also works for Inspire, and he'll be able to share a bit more about that organization. We have the Massachusetts Commission on Disabilities, are someone who works as a director there, and he's going to come and talk about what the Commission on Disabilities does. And he'll be able to share, too, with the idea, even though he's from Massachusetts, he'll be able to share a little bit about the other states and what's happening there, and how is that important to patients and families, and what can they do? How can the Commission on Disabilities help them?
Right.
And you have to think that some of these families are so overwhelmed, they don't really know about these resources. They don't really know who to call, and they don't even know it exists. How does that help them? So, through this type of programming, we're hoping to open that up a bit.
Right. Well, we definitely have some big plans for the future. We at Rare New England, our website has a plethora of information for rare disease stakeholders. There is so much information available, including uploads of the conference. There's recordings of the different representatives. There's so much information on our website, so we encourage you to go there and check it out. Finally, to everyone who is watching and listening, I imagine how you are wondering how you can get involved with Rare New England. I would love for Julie to share a little bit about the best way to get in touch with us if you would like to get involved.
Okay, to get in touch would probably be through our through the email info@rarenewengland.org. They can reach us there for any kind of questions or comments or what's needed through that. We always do welcome anyone who wants to participate in the organization. We're always looking for volunteers. We have things, small projects like managing social media to big projects like we need our website overhauled. So, we're open to, even if someone doesn't think they have something to offer, if they approach us and we talk about it, I bet you they do. Even if maybe it'll be supporting someone, maybe it'll be reaching out to legislators and being that part of an awareness program, or helping with the fundraiser. It's
so there's a spot for everybody here at Rare New England.
Yeah, there really is.
Yes. Wonderful. So Rare New England in motion. Before closing, we want to provide our viewers with an opportunity to share comments and ask questions. Rare New England in motion is the perfect way to expand upon our mission. We encourage you to send us questions and comments to info@rarenewengland.org. We will share your responses on our next show. On our previous show, we interviewed Team Impact. We heard from a mother who was inquiring about the age limit for involving her child in that program. We contacted Team Impact and they informed us that they serve children ages 5 to 16 years old. That is our show for today. We hope you enjoyed listening about Rare New England, the state of our organization, and our initiatives. We encourage you to share comments about the show and email us with any questions you have. Again, you can email us on the address on our screen and we will respond during our next show. Thank you for listening.